Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm Jason, your host, and I'm so excited you're here with us today.
And I'm Julia, your co-host. Whether you're walking, relaxing at home, or studying English with a notebook, thanks for choosing to spend time with us. You're doing something amazing for your English skills.
Yes, absolutely. In today's episode, we're talking about something very powerful. Your mindset. That's right, your English-speaking mindset.
Now, you might be wondering, what does mindset have to do with speaking English? Well, the answer is a lot. Your mindset can help you grow fast or hold you back without even realizing it.
Exactly. Maybe you've felt shy to speak or afraid of making mistakes, or maybe you think, I'm just not good at languages.
If you've ever had thoughts like that, don't worry. You're not alone. Many English learners feel the same way. But the good news is, you can change that with the right mindset.
So in this episode, we're going to talk about what the English-speaking mindset really means, how to overcome fear, and how to build the confidence to speak freely and naturally.
We'll also give you some simple mindset tips and daily habits that can truly change how you feel when speaking English.
So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's jump into the world of mindset and English speaking. All right, so let's start with a simple question. What is a mindset? Julia, how would you explain that?
Good question. A mindset is basically the way you think about something. It's your attitude or belief. When we say language learning mindset, we mean the way you think and feel about learning and speaking English.
Exactly. And there are actually two main types of mindset. One is called a fixed mindset, and the other is a growth mindset. These ideas come from a famous psychologist named Carol Dweck.
Right. A fixed mindset is when someone believes things like, I'm just not good at English or I'll never be fluent. It's like they believe their ability is stuck. It can't change.
On the other hand, a growth mindset means believing that you can improve with time, practice, and effort. You might say, speaking English is hard for me now, but I can get better.
That's such a powerful shift, isn't it? When you have a growth mindset, you don't feel afraid of mistakes. You see them as part of the learning process.
Absolutely. And that's where many English learners get stuck. They think they need to be perfect before they speak. But the truth is, nobody speaks perfectly, even native speakers.
So true. A strong English-speaking mindset means you focus on learning, not on looking perfect. You trust the process and give yourself permission to make mistakes. That's how real learning happens.
Yes, and one more thing. Your mindset also affects your actions. If you believe you can improve, you'll practice more, speak more, and take more chances to learn. But if you believe you can't improve, you'll avoid speaking and stay silent.
Exactly. So before you even say one word in English, your mindset has already decided what's possible for you. That's why it's so important to work on the inside, not just the grammar and vocabulary.
So, if you've been feeling stuck, maybe it's time to ask, what kind of mindset do I have right now? And more importantly, what kind of mindset do I want to have?
I love that. Today's the perfect time to start thinking differently, because fluency doesn't just start with your mouth, it starts with your mind.
All right, Julia, let's get real for a second. When it comes to speaking English, a lot of learners experience fears and mental blocks. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I've talked to so many learners who feel the same way, and honestly, I've been there too. Speaking a new language can be intimidating, especially when you feel like you don't know enough yet.
Exactly. And one of the biggest fears is the fear of making mistakes, right? I've met so many people who are scared to speak because they worry about getting words wrong or using the wrong grammar.
Yep, it's like they think, what if I say something wrong and people laugh at me? But here's the thing, everyone makes mistakes, and the only way to improve is by making them. Mistakes are a sign that you're trying.
That's a huge point. I think another fear is the fear of being judged. You might feel like everyone's listening and watching your every word, waiting for you to make a mistake.
Totally. That fear can be really paralyzing. But the reality is, most people are not paying that much attention to you. They're focused on what they want to say themselves. People are often too busy to judge.
I love that. And another big mental block I've seen is the overthinking of grammar. Some learners worry so much about saying something perfectly that they get stuck in their heads and can't speak at all.
Yeah, it's like they're so focused on grammar rules that they forget the goal is to communicate. If you're thinking too much about grammar while speaking, it's hard to sound natural and confident.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to remember that English is a tool for communication. It's not about being perfect. It's about being understood.
Another block I see is vocabulary anxiety. Some learners feel like they don't know enough words to say what they want, but honestly, you don't need to know every word to have a good conversation. It's okay to simplify and use what you know.
Right. And honestly, even if you don't have the perfect word, you can always describe what you mean or use gestures. Communication is flexible. Language is all about expression, not perfection.
I think all of these fears and blocks boil down to one thing: fear of failure. Learners feel like they have to speak perfectly right away, but language learning is a journey, not a race.
Exactly. So, to everyone listening, don't let these fears hold you back. The key is to keep going, even when it feels uncomfortable. Mistakes are part of the process, and the more you practice, the more confident you'll become.
And remember, every time you speak, you're getting better, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment.
So, if any of these fears or blocks sound familiar, you're definitely not alone. But the good news is, you can overcome them by shifting your mindset, something we'll talk about in the next section. So now that we've talked about some common fears and mental blocks, let's get into the good stuff. How to shift to a positive English-speaking mindset. Julia, I know you have some great tips on how to make this change. Let's start with what we can do when we're feeling stuck.
Yes, the first thing is, embrace mistakes. I know it sounds a little strange, but it's true. The more you accept that mistakes are part of the process, the less afraid you'll be to speak.
Absolutely. If you're afraid to make mistakes, you'll avoid speaking, which means you'll never improve. But when you see mistakes as learning opportunities, it becomes less scary to try new things.
Exactly. And when you make a mistake, don't be hard on yourself. Celebrate the fact that you're practicing. Mistakes are a sign of growth. You're stepping out of your comfort zone, and that's how learning happens.
That's such a great point. Another shift in mindset is to stop focusing on perfection and start focusing on communication. Instead of thinking, I have to speak perfectly, try thinking, I just want to get my message across.
Yes, I remember when I was learning new languages, I would get caught up in whether I was using the correct grammar. But what I quickly learned is that people care more about understanding you than whether your sentence is grammatically perfect.
Exactly. And even if you make a small mistake, if your message is clear, people will understand. The goal is always communication.
Another important shift is learning to focus on progress rather than perfection. Celebrate the little wins. Did you speak for 5 minutes today? That's progress. Did you try a new word? Progress again.
I love that. You're building your English skills little by little, and that's how fluency happens. It's a journey, and every step counts.
Yes. And here's another tip: visualize your success. Imagine yourself speaking English confidently in real-life situations. Picture yourself having a smooth conversation with someone, using the words you know with ease.
That's such a powerful tool. Visualization helps your mind get comfortable with the idea of speaking confidently, and it can make a huge difference in how you actually perform.
Exactly. And it also helps you relax and reduce anxiety. When you start thinking, I can do this, your brain starts to believe it. Positive self-talk is huge.
So true. Instead of thinking, I'll never be fluent, tell yourself, I am improving every day. I'm capable of learning. Positive thoughts lead to positive actions.
And another shift is to be patient with yourself. Fluency doesn't happen overnight. It's okay to take your time. Enjoy the process and trust that you're getting better, even when it feels slow.
Great advice. So to recap, embrace mistakes, focus on communication, celebrate progress, visualize success, and practice positive self-talk. All of these are small mindset shifts that can make a huge difference in your speaking confidence.
Exactly. And remember, every step you take brings you closer to fluency. It's all about being consistent and believing that you can improve.
Now that we've talked about how to shift to a positive mindset, let's dive into some practical habits you can do every day to build your confidence. Julia, what's the first habit you recommend?
The first habit is start small every day. Don't overwhelm yourself with huge goals right away. Try to speak or listen in English for at least 5 to 10 minutes each day. Even just a few minutes of practice every day can make a huge difference over time.
I love that. It's about consistency, not perfection. It's easier to stay motivated when you build a small habit into your routine. And the best part? You'll start to feel more comfortable with the language the more you practice.
Exactly. Another great habit is to talk to yourself in English. You don't always need a partner to practice speaking. Try describing your day, talking to yourself about what you're doing, or even thinking in English. It's a great way to get used to forming sentences and speaking aloud without pressure.
I think a lot of people forget about this one. Talking to yourself might feel a little strange at first, but it's an easy and private way to practice, and you'll start to notice that it becomes more natural over time.
Totally. And here's another powerful habit: listen to English every day. Whether it's podcasts, movies, music, or YouTube videos, exposing yourself to English content will help you develop a natural feel for the language. Plus, it builds confidence in understanding English when you hear it spoken.
Yes, the more you listen, the more familiar the language becomes, and it's great for training your ear. Listening is just as important as speaking. You don't need to understand every word. Just keep absorbing the sounds, the rhythm, and the flow of English.
Another habit is to set realistic goals and track your progress. It could be something simple like, this week I'll learn 5 new vocabulary words, or I'll have a 10-minute conversation in English by the end of the week.
And the key here is to celebrate your wins, no matter how small. Did you speak for 10 minutes in English? Awesome. Did you learn 5 new words? Great. These small wins add up over time and help keep you motivated.
Right. And here's a habit that I think is super important. Practice positive self-talk. Whenever you catch yourself thinking negative thoughts like, I can't do this, or I'm terrible at speaking, replace them with positive affirmations. Tell yourself, I am improving, or I am capable of speaking English confidently.
That's huge. The way we talk to ourselves can really impact our confidence. If you believe in your ability to improve, it will help you stay motivated and positive through the ups and downs of learning.
And one final habit is to surround yourself with English. Whether it's joining online English communities, chatting with language partners, or simply following English content creators on social media, being around English as much as possible makes it easier to stay immersed and practice consistently.
Definitely. The more you surround yourself with the language, the more natural it will feel to speak it. And the best part is that it doesn't always feel like work. It can be fun.
So to sum it up, start small each day, talk to yourself in English, listen to English daily, set realistic goals, practice positive self-talk, and surround yourself with English. These daily habits will help build your confidence and shift your mindset in a big way.
That's right. Remember, confidence comes with practice. The more you speak, listen, and think in English, the more natural it will become. It's all about taking small, consistent steps. All right, Julia, we've shared a lot of tips today about building a positive English-speaking mindset. But sometimes it really helps to hear from people who've actually gone through the journey themselves. Do you have any stories of real learners who turned things around by changing their mindset?
Oh, absolutely. I think one of the most powerful stories I've heard was about a learner named Maria. She started learning English later in life and had a lot of self-doubt. She was terrified of speaking because she feared making mistakes, and she had trouble finding the confidence to practice.
That sounds really tough. So how did she overcome that fear?
Well, Maria started small, just like we talked about. She began practicing English for just 5 minutes a day, reading aloud to herself. At first, she felt awkward and nervous, but as she kept going, she noticed that her fear started to fade. The more she practiced, the more comfortable she felt.
I love that. So, it was really about consistency, right? She didn't give up even when it felt uncomfortable.
Exactly. And eventually, Maria started recording herself speaking and listening to those recordings. She was surprised to hear how much she had improved, and that gave her the confidence to speak with others. Today, she's part of an English-speaking group and practices regularly with a language partner.
That's an incredible story. It really shows how small steps can lead to big results. It's all about keeping a positive mindset and not letting fear stop you.
Exactly. And there's another story I remember about Ahmed, who was really afraid of being judged by others. He was shy about speaking because he didn't want to make mistakes in front of people. But one day, he decided to face that fear head-on and joined an online English conversation group.
That must have been a huge step for him. So, how did that experience change his mindset?
It changed everything. At first he was really nervous, but over time, he started to realize that no one was judging him. They were all there to learn together. He made a lot of mistakes, but his group was supportive, and that helped him relax. He now speaks English confidently and even leads discussions in his group.
Wow, that's amazing. It really shows that the fear of judgment often isn't as bad as we think. Once you push past that fear, you can actually enjoy the process of learning.
Exactly. And the common thread in both of these stories is that they didn't let their fears stop them. They embraced the process of learning and focused on small positive changes. It wasn't about perfection, it was about progress.
What an inspiring message. If Maria and Ahmed can overcome their fears and change their mindset, so can our listeners. Keep practicing, stay positive, and trust the process. All right. Julia, we've covered a lot today about mindset and how to build confidence. But one thing that every learner faces at some point is feeling stuck, like no matter how much you practice, it feels like you're not improving. So, what can we do when we hit that wall?
That's such a great question, Jason. First of all, it's important to know that everyone feels stuck at some point. It's completely normal. So don't be too hard on yourself when it happens. The key is to keep going, even when you feel like you're not making progress.
Right. So, one tip is to take a break. Sometimes when we're stuck, we try to push harder, but that can make us more frustrated. Stepping away for a little while can actually help clear your mind and refresh your motivation. When you come back, you'll feel more energized.
Yes, exactly. Another tip is to change up your routine. If you've been doing the same thing every day, try something new. Listen to a different podcast, watch a video in English, or change your study environment. A little variety can bring new energy to your learning.
That's so true. And also, remind yourself of your why. Why did you start learning English in the first place? Was it to travel, connect with others, or get a job? Reconnecting with your goals can reignite that motivation and remind you that the hard work is worth it.
Exactly. And remember, it's about progress, not perfection. Even if it feels slow, you are improving. Celebrate the small victories, like understanding a word you didn't know before or having a 5-minute conversation in English. Every step counts.
And one last tip. Don't compare your journey to others. Everyone learns at their own pace. Focus on your personal growth and be patient with yourself.
Absolutely. Stay consistent, keep a positive mindset, and trust that with time, you'll break through the plateau. The key is to keep moving forward, even on the tough days.
So, to recap, take breaks when you need them, change up your routine, reconnect with your reasons for learning, celebrate small wins, and avoid comparing yourself to others. Keep that motivation alive, and you'll continue to grow. As we wrap up today's episode, remember this. Developing a positive English-speaking mindset is a journey, not a destination. It takes time, effort, and patience. But every step you take gets you closer to your goal.
Exactly. Focus on consistency, embrace your mistakes, and keep building those daily habits. The more you practice, the more natural English will feel. Believe in yourself and your ability to improve.
So, if you're feeling stuck, just keep going. Stay positive, stay motivated, and trust the process. You've got this.
Thanks for tuning in today. We hope you feel more confident in your English learning journey. Don't forget to subscribe, share this episode with a friend, and stay tuned for more tips to help you on your path to fluency.
Take care, everyone, and we'll see you in the next episode.